Guys, so this is how I survived being attacked by a whale. And the worst part was, I wasn't even online. In the middle of this recent castle battle we had. Now, mind you, this is like a day or so before, this is like 2 days before Christmas. And let's just say I survived. And the whale ended up, I think, quitting the game. But this is what I did, right? So I had Sergey, and then I had my Philly and my Zen Man on my wall. Okay, now in hindsight, could have probably survived a little better. But as you might imagine, when you look at, how the triggers apply, right? Which is to say, Sergey's dropping their damage down. And then I've got Philly increasing attack and defense, increasing some damage there. And, adding some stun there. And not terribly helpful, right? Neither is Zinman's skills, but the damage dealt being increased, a chance to volley twice. Not the most ideal situation, right? But this guy's, of course, I'm not ready for it. And I'm getting swung at by this guy. 158,000 troops a pop. Not once, but multiple times in a row. And this is peak crazy to me. You really can't get any crazier than this. Maybe you can, I don't know. I've never seen anyone try this before. So he just starts sending solos at me. Like, he's 4 solos into this. Mind you, he's losing 55,000 troops. Okay. Those aren't, like, cheap troops, either. They're maxed FC3 troops. Now, luckily for me, right, I'm FC3 as well. So, the only major difference here is what he's sending, right? Obviously, he's got the better set of heroes. He's got gear on the heroes. So, there's a substantial difference here. Now, in hindsight, looking back at this, I think I'll probably need to swap on what's on my wall. The next thing probably would be going AFK. But now you see that my troop count starts going up. Okay, now if you're wondering why is that, my alliance was nice enough to start filling me. They were like, oh, okay. Then they caught on to what was going on, and they started reinforcing me. This is critical, I think, and whenever you're getting attacked like this, the best counteraction that you have towards a whale is to group up. Okay? It's the best investment you can do in a situation like this. I also think investing things in, like, Patrick's and Sergey are a huge plus. It's a boon to the fight. It's one of those things that, given that you're getting soloed, and now it can be so much worse, right, if I was rallied. But the fact that he's soloing is part of the reason why this was so just gruesome from a troop standpoint, right? Because at this point he's down to 87k, but he's still throwing troops at a wall. There's 40,000 troops there, there's 18,000 there, 21,000 there, and he just keeps going. And he just keeps going. He reheals and he keeps going. Now I'm starting to lose troops though. You can see I lost 27,000 in that hit. Yeah, it's like he's starting to definitely chink away at the armor. But at this point, he starts to run out of steam. And, at this point, he's running out of troops. And so what I want to get across to you guys is that you gotta have reinforcements if you're getting soloed like this. Of course, I came back on, rehealed, and everything went back to cherry blossom awesome. And, of course, I went back to sending rallies and such. Now, one thing you might notice is I am using Zenman here. I'm only doing that because I don't have a choice. If I had Alonzo upgraded, I would be using Alonzo. Because I would rather have the 40% bonus. It's just, I don't have it, so naturally I'm just going to work with what I have. But that was pretty much how that played out. And so, if you're wondering who actually ended up winning Sunfire Castle, it was pretty interesting. Oh, and you notice the code? Yeah, maybe you'll get it in time. But yeah, so core ended up getting the base, so thankfully the alliance that we picked out ended up getting it. Now, out of all that, during all the combat and everything, one thing that I noticed is now if I go to the leaderboard, I'm the highest ranking player now. Not that I intended to be, but here we are. Outside of core looking like absolute ballers, now that they've got pretty much all of their alliance members now at the top, except for me, of course. I'm the oddball. My kill count's probably gone up a little bit. Not by a lot, though. So it's not 22 million. Kilburn here, being the guy that he is, might not have all the might, but he's got all the kills. I mean, he's almost got as much might as he does kills. So he's working his way to being up on the territory list, which just goes to show. Now, of course, as you can see, KOF is the guy that ended up soloing me like crazy. That was Bat. So, like anything, it's just kind of self-defeating, right? But of course, he ended up, I think, quitting the game. So did one of their other members, and so tragically, they're kind of in a spiral, I guess. But of course, you know, with the Christmas event and everything, there's a lot to talk about. But you know, the main thing is here's what the Christmas skin looks like. It's pretty cool. But you know, if anything, if you are struggling and you're in a situation where you're getting attacked, I think really the best thing you can do is, like on a city defense, you see how I've got this set up? I think what I'd rather do is put Flint in that place. And then for Philly here, I might even move Philly at some point to Patrick or something, because I almost feel like you might want the HP more than the defense. Like I honestly think that might be a better play. The only problem is I don't have any gear for him, so there's that. And then eventually I'd like to put Alonzo here, right? But we're still a little ways away from that, so that's all I'm going to do is just change that out, put Flint in its place. Now, I could put Geronimo, right? But like anything, it's kind of a question of what's better in, you know, in defense. You know, and part of the problem is that, like, investing so much into heroes in the game, it's pretty gnarly, I think. I mean, the only thing I can look at, you know, against Sergey is the fact that, you know, he's at 220 for imp. And if I compare Sergey, it's only 116. It's nearly a 10-fold increase, just from a stat point of view. You know, and so from that perspective, it's like, okay, it's kind of silly not to. You know, and when I look at Alonzo, you can see he's only at 103. And so, I mean, don't get me wrong, the skills are bad, but you got the widget being at max. That's going to help quite a bit. By no means is it, you know, a perfect solution, because I mean, you know, I've got his widget upgraded too, and I think that's really kind of my reasoning behind why I'll be using Flint going forward. But it's something that, you know, it's the little things. Now, like Patrick, I mean, the reason I bring up Patrick, right, is because you get a 25% health up, and then a 25% attack up, which compared to Philly, even though Philly is stupid good on Lancer attack, the only thing that I'm kind of considering is, you know, obviously there's 15% here in health and then 70% coming out of healing effects. I mean, Philly's obviously an overall better hero to use. It's just one of those things that I'm looking at and going, oh, yes, that would be kind of nice. But, you know, again, looking at the generation and the tier of the hero, it's obvious that Patrick isn't the best in slot there compared to using someone like Philly. And this is why when you're kind of having to decide what to put on your wall, you really kind of have to decide that by what is the best hero that you have at that point in time. And the best way to make that decision, I think, is really looking at your core stats and looking at their widgets, and then knowing what skill level you have. You know, it's like those are a couple of things that you want to take into consideration whenever you're picking out your hero. But more or less, that's pretty much how that went. Now, as far as the festival goes, I have 12,000 points. I think it's kind of lame that we don't get any points after... or we don't get anything past once we max it out. So I just have a stupid high point count in it. Now, my presence galore, you know, obviously being as high as it is, my honor ranking's probably not the best overall, but I'm like ring 15, you know, so that's not bad. At least for the King of the Frost event. And for Dreamweaver, I've already gotten that. I've already got the, you know, the Wish Express March skin. Which, if you're wondering what that looks like, I can show you real quick. It's really not too bad. Between the castle skin and the marching, it's, you know, it's like, it's pretty cool. Let me see here. Let's just go hit a level 27 beast real quick so I can show you. Okay, so see, you get like a little Santa with a bag of presents that go bouncing around. Oh, and by the way, in case you didn't know, whenever you're poking around, see this right here? You tap on it and you get rewards. And then it'll do this up to 3 times. So just basically just back up, back in. And then you just hunt around looking for them again. It usually spawns like down here or up and around this area. Like right there. I'll just tap it. That is, of course, if it opens. There it goes. And so there's another drop. You know, but might as well grab it while you can. And then, of course, oh, they're right there. Boom. You know, sometimes I can get them to spawn like that, and other times not. But, you know, it's the little things. Anyway, so more or less, that's the Christmas event. Of course, we got fishing tournament coming up, so we've got that. But thank you guys for dropping by, and I'll see you guys for the next video.